This is the Unexpected Podcast. Well, Lee,
Ames,
you ready to wing it?
wing it.
Wing it.
So what do we got today to talk about?
Well, I thought that we would do something that we did one time before, and that was rather than having one topic, I've got about 4 mini topics that we're going to hit. But there is an overarching theme. So I'm glad you guys joined us today, and I hope you're ready to hit some topics quickly. You look frightened.
I am a little bit. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Okay, it's very simple stuff, and that's the whole point. Sometimes we go for the deep things, whether it's the deep things of God, the deep things about life, which is great. We like doing deep dives sometimes. But, we should never do the deep dives at the neglect of the basics and the simple things in life.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Right.
KISS method.
That's right, the KISS method. So we're going to keep it simple today. You can't talk about kissing.
Oh, but we're
KISS
married.
method. I haven't heard that in a while. I'm sure you guys have heard that. I haven't heard that in some time.
The polite way to say it is keep it simple, Sam.
That's right. That's right. We don't want to insult each other.
No.
All right. Well,
I didn't call you stupid. I was just saying the same. I'm sorry if you took that the wrong way.
I did not.
Oh, that's good.
I didn't take it at all.
Well, that's good. We're not gonna take.
Well, here we are today. And I was just telling Lee that before we got started, I was sometimes, you like to pray, you like to ask God's direction, for his direction and blessing. And I'm a little tired today. And so in my mind, I said, thank you, Lord, for this food. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're not eating right now.
No.
But it's food for thought.
I mean,
so here we go.
You can eat if you would like.
Yeah, we'll probably have a snack here in a little while.
Sounds good.
All right. Okay, so the mini topics are going to center around the fact that there are often simple, practical solutions to things that we encounter in everyday life. Now, we know that sometimes we face things and there isn't a simple solution, and that's hard. And that's really where we have to walk in faith.
Yeah.
Walk by faith. We put our trust in the Lord. We have patience, and we know a lot about that, don't we? Facing situations.
I'm not going to go into that right now.
Right. But we've faced and are facing situations where there's not perhaps a quick, simple solution. But the reality is sometimes we encounter things every day and there is a simple solution if we'll apply it. So I've got an idea of a couple of things, 4 things to be exact. Number 1, a problem that people encounter at times, I know I do sometimes, that is the inability to focus in on a time of prayer. Now, we could couple this with the idea of praying without ceasing. And I think you're a person who I've seen through the years walk with God and kind of have an all-day conversation with the Lord.
Yeah.
Which is fantastic. I do think there's an importance, though, in a time of prayer, that just setting aside every distraction. It's important for me to have those times where I'm just going to have, just time with the Lord. There are things that maybe I need to pray about, but also knowing that prayer is a two-way conversation, that it's also about getting quiet before God and listening.
Sometimes it's a dialogue. Sometimes it's a monologue.
Right.
And sometimes you just need to listen.
Right. I thought you were going to make some kind of joke, like it's a log of complaints.
Yes. Sometimes it is a log of complaints. That's very good.
Okay.
Dialogue, monologue, and log of complaints. That's most people's prayer lives.
It's true.
We don't do a whole lot of listening.
Right. And we need to. And that's a whole different topic. But through the years, I've heard some really good advice that I think has been helpful. And you may have some other thoughts on this. Number 1, when you're wanting to just have a focused time with the Lord, it's very simple. And I've heard people say this, and now others may disagree with this, but I've applied this before, and it's been very useful. And that is go into a room and set an alarm. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and say, I'm going to have just 5 minutes, no distractions, and have time with the Lord. And what I've found, and I think what others have found, is at the end of that, that alarm might go off and you're like, oh, this is good. I've stepped into a place of just experiencing God and I don't want this to stop.
Yeah.
So that's a simple, practical solution. There's nothing deep and spiritual about it, but it's practical.
Yep.
The other thing that has helped me so much that seems to be a way of just kind of stepping in and feeling like, because we talk about the heavens are brass, right? Yeah. It feels like your prayers aren't going anywhere.
Right.
But there have been times when I feel like I step into a place where it's like I feel like my prayers are being heard. And that is the simple task of having prayer lists. It sounds so simple.
Yeah.
And so basic. But to me, it's been one of the most profound things. And and I promise I'm going to let you talk here in a minute.
It's fine.
But I have, for several years, a number of years, I've had 3 different prayer lists.
Yeah.
One, people in my life, starting with you, our children, and then lots of different people, but with more detail about your life and our sons' lives. And there's something about having those specific things written down. It's just, I think of the scripture that says, write the vision and make it plain. There's something powerful about just putting that down. And then through the years, when I would see prayers answered, and again, that's another whole different topic. Sometimes prayers aren't answered the way we're looking for them to be, but sometimes they are. And that has been like a testament of the things that God has done. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened because it was on my phone and it was backed up, but it's just gone. I lost that list, but that's okay. That's okay. You can start new lists.
Yep.
Any other thoughts on like those practical things when you're just feeling like,
you make your lists and you pray and all that stuff. I think one of the things that helped me when I first started praying and even all through my life, is I would write my prayer. I would just literally have basically a prayer journal, and I would write my prayer, and then I would watch how God would fulfill it. Yeah. And that's always encouraging because it's like, oh, now I remember. I look back at it and I go, oh wow, that's profound. And and some things I wrote down, I'm like, man, I'm glad that didn't happen. And
sure.
So these it takes this mindset of I am going to just spend time and with the Father, and that's it. And you have to make your mind up.
Yeah.
And it is a decision like everything else in life.
Sure.
And I pray constantly. Right now, I'm having a little bit of trouble with focus because of things that I'm going through. But praying without ceasing is a definite goal to where it's just constant communion with the Lord throughout the day. And it's always in the back of your mind, Lord, what am I doing? And how am I doing this? And am I doing this with you? Am I doing this on my own? Am I going through the motions just to get the job done? Am I just playing the game to make it work? Is it me? Is it you? Is it, Kalamazoo? I mean, so the practical thing that I would say is start writing your prayers. It is very helpful and it's encouraging throughout the years.
Yeah. That's great. That is very good. So we're jumping through practical solutions to simple everyday problems.
Yeah.
Okay. So you ready for another one?
What's the next one?
The next one.
Let's go for it.
All right. These are in no particular order and they're completely unrelated.
Okay.
The other that I find interesting is when we have something going on physically in our body and there's actually a solution. So let me give you an example. Back when I was in high school, I played basketball. I had trouble with my knees. Like sometimes my knee would give out. And I went to, we did some weight training at one point, like before the season started. And there was a trainer there and he said, oh, you need to get on an exercise bike, a stationary bike, and that will strengthen up your legs and you won't have those knee issues. Well, you know what? I was young and stubborn and I just didn't listen. Yep. And I was like, they don't know what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Okay, fast forward to maybe just 8 years ago, I was having a lot of trouble with my knees.
Mm-hmm. I remember.
Yeah, it would hurt to walk up steps, and sometimes my knee would give out. We live on a hill, so if I was out in the yard, I would just have trouble. Okay, well, we had a friend who ran a dance studio and knew a lot. She knows a lot about physical fitness.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you have knee problems? That's simple. Mm-hmm. Now, it's not always simple because some people may have issues that can't be remedied that's quickly. True. But in this case, there was a solution. She said, your knee problems are because the muscles in your upper legs are weak. You strengthen those and you won't have knee issues anymore. Mm-hmm. Well, I took her at face value on that. Mm-hmm. And I began to apply it. And guess what? I haven't had any knee problems.
Yeah, that's great.
So the point being that sometimes there are things physically going on with us, and maybe there isn't a solution. But maybe there is. And when there is, you need to apply it.
Yeah, if you can get others to comply.
Right. Yeah.
We won't go there, but I could go so deep on that and go off because I'm, of all the things that I'm currently thinking about.
Okay.
I'm not going to though.
Okay.
But the practical side of it is exercise is good.
Yep.
And you should just follow through. And it's, you sometimes you get healing and sometimes you go through the battle.
Right.
To get the healing.
Right. And you know what? Really, this does tie back to what we were talking about earlier about prayer, because sometimes there may be a solution and you don't know it yet. Mm-hmm. But I know there have been times when I've prayed like, Lord, can you show me what to do in this situation? Mm-hmm. And sometimes he'll send somebody along who has a solution to something going on. But
the enemy always wants to block it.
He does.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes
I'm having a little bit of an issue with this one.
I didn't mean to trigger you.
That's all right. I'm triggered.
Oh, no.
I am triggered.
I'm so sorry to trigger you. But what I was going to say is sometimes it takes humility. Because I had another situation going on, and I happened to mention it to a healthcare professional, and that person had a solution to an issue that I was having. Yeah. Even though I was at a dentist, but it was a kind of an unrelated problem, but they had the solution. So sometimes it takes humility saying, hey, I'm dealing with this. Do you know what to do?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're trucking along.
Yeah. Let's go to the next one. That one's a little sensitive to me.
Like I said, these are simple problems that we face every day. They're completely unrelated. The next one, I think you'll jump on the bandwagon of this one.
Read it.
Okay. This is, the problem that people have encountered when they lost their data or their files or their papers because they didn't back up the things in their lives.
2 places. 3 if you can.
Exactly. So I remember several years ago watching a movie. I don't remember what movie it was, but I think it was the actor Luke Wilson, I think. And he was a writer in this particular movie. Now, I understand they had to have this scenario play out to propel the plot forward.
Yep.
But he had written this whole novel, and it was on his laptop. And then somehow his laptop gets knocked out into the street, and somebody runs over, and he loses his whole book, Yeah. And I'm like, no, there's no excuse for that.
No.
And, of course, you've taught at the college level. I've worked with college students, and, my thing is there is absolutely no excuse for ever losing anything you're working on. Okay, so if you're...
Email it to yourself.
email
It's
it to
free.
yourself. Yes, put it in the cloud. Put it on a zip drive.
You get 15 gigs of storage on Google. You know, you can find a storage device somewhere, but back it up.
Exactly.
And name it correctly. Get the file hierarchy better. Man, you're pushing my buttons today.
I know.
If you do a file, if you got a file, and all you that are in media, organize your stuff.
Yep.
If your stuff is all over the place, you are going to lose something. When you go to edit, when you go to write a paper, write a book, file hierarchy, naming conventions, figure it out. It is something that is dire, and I'm in a place right now in life to where I'm doing it as a job right now. Organizing data and putting metadata in and making sure that thousands of records are being searchable.
Right.
Because how you do it matters. And, let's pull that back to the Bible. You should know the Bible. You should know chapter verse. You should go into there. I am not good at that. There's where my Achilles heel is. I know that there are scriptures, and sometimes I got them, like Luke 1:37, or John 3:16, or Matthew chapter 6, verse 23. All of these I have, but Genesis 1:1, the basics.
Right.
Get into the deeper stuff. I can't. We've got friends that can quote the whole chapter.
Oh yeah.
Or the whole book.
Yeah.
In the Bible.
Yeah.
But being able to organize, being able to compartmentalize things and put them into categories that are like categories is very important in life.
Yeah.
Being organized creates less stress. In the long run.
And cherish your print Bibles. I've seen these people online. They're like, who here still owns a printed Bible? I'm like, yeah.
We got several
Just
of them.
because it's on your phone doesn't mean that you get rid of
a book that we won't go there, but
we won't go there. Okay, and here's another thing. Even though physical items can be lost, they can be burned in a fire, you're more likely to preserve physical items than you are digital items. And I know this from, working with archives and different things. There have been a lot of publications who have gone to digital only. Now, do you really think that those small time publications are going to get preserved well? They are not. No. But the physical ones probably will. And so really, I mean, if you're talking about your family photos, I mean, of course, we back ours up. We do have them backed up in the cloud, but I also like to go through and back up things on an external hard drive. And then from time to time, get pictures printed. Because, any of that stuff could be lost.
Yeah. And, when you die, they're not going to go through all your stuff.
Right.
And look at
They're
pictures.
Definitely not going to go through all your digital files.
No.
But they might go through your photo
They'll be
albums.
like, oh, look, a hard drive. Let's erase it and use it.
Right.
Oh, the wheel was on there.
Or, hey, they might be like, a hard drive. What is this? We got something more advanced now.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so simple solution. There's no reason to lose anything that you're working on.
No.
Back it up.
If you're creative, it's very important that you do this.
Amen.
Back it up in 2 to 3 places.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Final thought.
Okay.
And again, there isn't always a simple solution, but the last one is very simple. And that's the problem of you get up one day and you're feeling depressed.
That happens a lot.
I mean, okay. Yep. That makes me think of, anytime you had to go into the hospital. I mean, I can remember going into the hospital just to have our second son. And the nurse, comes in and is like, is there any history of depression in your family? It's like, what family doesn't have? I mean, I understand there are severe,
yes, but everybody gets down.
Exactly.
And there's not anybody in the whole world that hasn't gotten down and questioned. Jesus in the garden, Lord, if this cup could pass from me, let it be so. But nevertheless, your will be done. Jesus had a moment.
Yep, he did. All right. So before I throw out any thoughts on this, what are your thoughts of some simple, practical things to do when you're battling feelings of depression?
Don't get by yourself. Don't watch sad movies. Don't get a case of the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Those are bad.
Those are very bad. And go smile at somebody. Go get you some ice cream if you're not lactose intolerant. And, if all else fails, go look up some fart jokes and get happy.
Because
farts are funny. I'm
Somebody
sorry.
is not going to approve of this.
Well, I mean, okay, excuse me. Flatulence is funny. I'll say that. We have an acquaintance. We've met him once, and he what was his name?
Jack.
That's right.
Oh my gosh, we're drawing a blank.
Sorry, Jack. But he actually has a pooter.
Yeah.
That he goes in and he will go to Walmart and poot. He has a pooter, and we actually have one.
That's what it's called. Yeah.
We actually have one right here, I think. Hold on.
Yep. Jack Vale. I just remembered his name. Isn't that correct?
Sorry. The Pooter. This is not an official commercial, but it's the original Pooter by Jack Vale. He signed this one for us. So if you want one of these, go to the Pooter, the original Pooter. I think it's thepooter.com. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Thepooter.com. And you can get one of these. Jack's a funny guy.
Yeah.
He's really, really fun to be around. But anyway.
Okay.
So there's a way to get out.
Humor. Let's just say humor, because everyone has a different taste in humor.
I happen to think I can't help it.
Find your.
If somebody has a tutor pooter, I mean, I just. It's funny. We used to talk about that around the breakfast table or the supper table, the lunch table, and I grew up where flatulence was very funny. Farts were funny.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, and that's true. All those things are really good things. So, yeah, you mentioned go get some ice cream or go get do something that brings a little bit of joy. Of course, you don't want to eat away your sorrow. So if that's an issue, you don't want to do that. You don't want to.
Don't eat your feelings away.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. But really, and as someone who came out of addiction and went through recovery and in and out of rehabs, we used to have a thing that we would say, an acronym that we would use called HALT. Okay, so if a person struggles with addiction, but I think it could be true for any kind of struggles, okay, you use the acronym HALT to remind yourself, don't ever get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a lot better than my advice.
well, yours could be intertwined in there somewhere. But yeah, there are, I've heard psychologists say, if someone comes to me, I'm going to first of all address, are you eating well? Do you have a regular sleep schedule? Do you get any exercise? These are just basic things.
Exercise, when I did exercise, I try to, I really can't right now.
Yeah.
But that is a good way to get out of depression. Really.
It really is.
It gets the endorphins flowing and
you feel so much better.
Feel better. And, exercise is a good thing.
Yeah. You remember the story of, there was a guy he was just depressed, feeling suicidal, and he just started running. He's like, I'm going to run myself to death. And then he kept running and running and running. And then he fell in love with running and he felt so rejuvenated and he suddenly just embraced life again.
Yeah.
So, we were created for physical activity. We weren't created just to sit around.
Waste away.
And waste away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, those are just some simple solutions to everyday problems.
So this was the KISS method episode.
That's right. We could call it that. We'll see. We'll see how it goes down.
K.I.S.S.
MISSISSIPPI. Didn't you used to love to say that?
Ah, yes.
M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I. Did you guys say that in elementary school?
Yes, we actually did.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
And we also do.
We're not even from Mississippi, but yeah.
What about Missouri? Missouri.
Yes, the Show Me State.
Yeah, the Show Me State.
Yeah. And this has been States of the USA with Lee and Amy. Kidding.
We probably should say goodbye before it gets way out of hand.
We should. We appreciate you all so much for tuning in, and we would love to hear from you. We want to hear what your thoughts are on simple solutions to everyday problems.
Yeah,
and,
give us some ideas.
Absolutely.
And subscribe and get others to subscribe. We would like to, get into more people's lives in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah, we're not nosy or anything.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Not unless it's good.
All right, cowboy.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, we'll see you all on the next episode.
See you guys.
Don't forget to like this video and please subscribe to our channel. Drop your comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you prefer audio podcasts, please follow us on your favorite streaming platform.